Every rapture theory you've ever heard is wrong. Every single one. And I'm not just saying that for shock value. I'm saying it because Scripture itself makes that claim. People have been trying to predict the timing of the rapture for centuries, and every attempt has failed. Not because people weren't smart enough, not because they didn't study hard enough, but because God has made it impossible. Today, I want to show you why no prediction can ever be right, and why that's actually good news for us. For as long as Christians have been waiting for Christ's return, there have been predictions about when it will happen. Some of the earliest church fathers speculated about the end. In the Middle Ages, priests tied it to celestial events. In modern times, entire publishing empires have been built on rapture date setting. People roll out charts, calendars, coded theories, and predictions that sound convincing at first. And yet, one by one, they all fail. The dates come and go, and the rapture has not happened. You don't have to look very far to see this in our own day. Some teachers confidently proclaim that the rapture must fall on the Feast of Trumpets. Others use blood moons or Shemitah cycles as prophetic countdowns. Still others tie it to political events, wars, or world leaders. And what happens when the dates pass? Unbelievers mock the Bible. Believers get discouraged. And the credibility of the church takes another hit. But here's the bigger problem. Scripture says the exact timing of the rapture is hidden. That means every attempt to figure it out is doomed before it starts. There are no secret codes buried in the Bible. There are no hidden clues that allow us to calculate the day. God has deliberately kept that information from us. If you've ever seen one of those failed predictions, whether it was a date, a feast, or even a world event, hit the like button right now. It really helps get this message out so others aren't misled. If we want the truth, we need to go to Jesus himself. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 36, he declared, "But about that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone." That's as clear as it gets. The timing of the rapture is not just unknown, it is unknowable. Even the angels don't know. During his earthly ministry, Jesus himself said he did not know. The Father has kept the timing entirely to himself, and Jesus pressed the point further in verse 44 of the same chapter. "For this reason, you must be ready as well, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour when you do not think he will." Did you catch that? He's not just saying you won't know the day or the hour, he's saying he will come at the very moment when you do not expect him. That one statement destroys every theory that tries to tie the rapture to a specific calendar date. If you expect it on the Feast of Trumpets, then by definition, it cannot be on the Feast of Trumpets. Mark chapter 13 verses 32 and 33 repeats the warning. "But about that day or hour no one knows. Watch out, stay alert, for you do not know when the appointed time will come." The Greek word for appointed time is kairos, meaning a fixed season or divinely appointed moment. In other words, God has already chosen the exact moment of the rapture, but he has also chosen to keep it hidden. Our responsibility is not to calculate. Our responsibility is to stay alert, living ready. Even though Jesus' words are clear, people keep building theories. Let's look at some of the most common. The first is the Feast of Trumpets theory, because Paul says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 that the rapture will happen at the trumpet of God. Some argue that it must align with the Feast of Trumpets, but nowhere in Scripture are those trumpets connected. The trumpet Paul mentions is a divine announcement, not a holiday schedule. If the rapture were tied to a predictable feast day, then it would no longer come like a thief in the night. Another popular approach is the obsession with blood moons and Shemitah cycles. Authors have sold millions of books claiming lunar eclipses or 7-year financial cycles were signs of the rapture. But when the dates passed and nothing happened, people were left disillusioned. These are human patterns, not God's revelation. And then there are the political and world event predictions. People swore the rapture must happen during World War II. Others said it would happen in 1948 when Israel became a nation. More recently, some tied it to US elections or the rise of certain presidents. But every one of those predictions failed because they were based on speculation, not Scripture. Have you heard people promote these theories? Drop a comment below and tell me which ones you've seen most often. I'd love to know how widespread this has become. The hidden timing of the rapture isn't just one verse here or there. It's a consistent biblical pattern. In Acts chapter 1 verse 7, the disciples asked Jesus if he was about to restore the kingdom to Israel. His response, "It is not for you to know periods of time or appointed times which the Father has set by his own authority." That's as plain as it gets. God has set the times, but he has kept them in his own authority. Jesus also drew on a Galilean wedding idiom. In that culture, the groom didn't know the day or hour when he would go to collect his bride. Only the father of the groom decided when the preparations were complete, and only then would the son go fetch his bride. That's exactly the imagery Jesus used when he said, "No one knows the day or the hour but my Father only." His disciples would have understood immediately. Jesus is the groom, the church is the bride, and the Father has set the moment. And in Matthew chapter 25, Jesus told the parable of the 10 virgins. The bridegroom came suddenly at midnight and half of them weren't ready. The point is simple. The timing is hidden, but the responsibility to be ready is not. It's not just that date setting is wrong, it's dangerous. Every time someone sets a date for the rapture, they are contradicting the words of Jesus, and the fallout is real. First, it damages faith among believers. People get swept up in the excitement, only to feel crushed when the day passes. Some even question whether God's promises are true. Second, it gives unbelievers a reason to mock. When Christians proclaim, "The rapture will happen on this date," and nothing happens, the world laughs and dismisses the Bible as foolishness. Third, it distracts the church from obedience. Instead of focusing on holiness and mission, people become obsessed with cracking codes and chasing charts. But Luke chapter 12 verse 35 says, "Be dressed in readiness and keep your lamps lit." Jesus didn't tell us to calculate. He told us to stay ready. This is why I make these videos, to cut through speculation and bring straight biblical truth. If that's what you want more of, make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss the next teaching. Now here's the balance. While we cannot know the day or the hour, we are commanded to know the season. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 24 verse 33, "So you too, when you see all these things, recognize that he is near, right at the door." What are those signs? First, the rebirth of Israel in 1948. For 2,000 years, Israel didn't exist as a nation, yet prophecy after prophecy declared God would regather his people in the last days, and it has happened. Second, global turmoil and moral collapse. 2 Timothy chapter 3 describes a culture of arrogance, rebellion, and unholiness. Romans chapter 1 describes a society that rejects truth and celebrates sin. That's exactly what we see today. Third, the convergence of signs. Jesus said in Luke chapter 21 verse 28, "Now when these things begin to happen, straighten up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." The exact moment is hidden, but the nearness is clear. So if the day is hidden but the season is here, how do we live ready? First, we walk in holiness. Titus chapter 2 says God's grace teaches us to deny ungodliness and live righteously in this present age. Readiness is not about speculation. It's about obedience. Second, we share the gospel with urgency. If Christ could return at any moment, every conversation and every relationship matters. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 58 tells us to always excel in the work of the Lord, knowing it is never in vain. Third, we encourage one another with hope. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 18 says, "Therefore, comfort one another with these words." The rapture is not meant to cause fear, it is meant to give us hope, so we live in expectation, not despair. Here's the truth. The timing of the rapture is hidden, but the promise is certain. The Father has set the moment, and Jesus will come suddenly, at a time when the world least expects it. And all the signs around us confirm that his coming is very near. So stop chasing dates, stop wasting energy on codes and charts. Instead, live like Christ could come today, because he could. Be like the wise virgins with oil in your lamp, ready when the shout comes at midnight. Share the gospel urgently, encourage one another daily, and live holy lives so you're found faithful when he returns. If this teaching encouraged you, share it with a friend who needs this reminder today. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more straight biblical truth, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Christ is coming soon. Let's be ready together. Live like Christ could come today, because he could. Be like the wise virgins with oil in your lamp, ready when the shout comes at midnight. Share the gospel urgently, encourage one another daily, and live holy lives so you're found faithful when he returns. The Father has set the moment, and Jesus will come suddenly, at a time when the world least expects it. And all the signs around us confirm that his coming is very near. So stop chasing dates. Stop wasting energy on codes and charts. Instead, live like Christ could come today, because he could. Be like the wise virgins with oil in your lamp, ready when the shout comes at midnight. Share the gospel urgently, encourage one another daily, and live holy lives so you're found faithful when he returns. If this teaching encouraged you, share it with a friend who needs this reminder today. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more straight biblical truth, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Christ is coming soon. Let's be ready together.